Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sisters. I am your man and resident Redskins fan. Wait a minute. This is the Super Bowl. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louis T? Welcome to Super Bowl 54 overtime. Chiefs, Niners, fantastic football game. So many things to get to. Thank you guys for joining me late. This is going to be great. All right. Late night Louis T. Where else would you be? Okay. So this game, it was funny. We were watching the game. It was 10-10 at halftime and it was 13-10 midway through the third quarter. And I look over at my sister and she's like, this game's kind of boring. And I'm thinking to myself, this game is great. And it started to gain steam as we got deeper into the game. Niners take a commanding 10-point lead into the fourth quarter, and they're dominating this game. And I look over to my dad, and I'm telling him, this is a key third down. This is a key third down. I keep saying it over and over again. And every time I would say that, the Chiefs would find a way to get either the stop or convert that key third down to give themselves a chance. And at some point, you had to know that offensively, and I felt the same way after the Titans game when the Chiefs were able to dominate that game in the second half and ended up leading at halftime despite the Titans really dominating the first half of that game. And I listened to Titans fans talk about how it was the defense's fault. The defense didn't do enough and they needed to get stops. And I'm thinking to myself, what about the damn offense? The offense kept going 3 and out. The offense would get one first down and then punt. How about the offense possess the football? How about the offense put up some points or at least stop the defense from having to go back onto the field and take this onslaught? Like, I felt the same way tonight. This defense for San Francisco through 51 minutes of this game, they had held the most explosive offense in the league, and I know Baltimore was dominant this year. But to me, when healthy, the Chiefs were the most explosive offense, and they kind of showed that in the postseason. But they held the most explosive offense in the league to 10 points through 3.5 quarters, essentially. And Patrick Mahomes looked mortal. They turned him over. They flustered him. They made him look average. 2 interceptions. All right. No touchdown passes. It's 20-10. And Kyle Shanahan, I thought, didn't help the defense out. Eventually, they were going to score because they're the Chiefs and they have the capability to do that. Score in the blink of an eye. We talked about this already. 21 points in the final 9 minutes of the game for the Chiefs. We talked about this already. They are fully capable of doing this. And in order to combat that, you have to do something on the offensive side. The only way they can't score is if they're on the sidelines waiting to get back on the field. And unfortunately, the 49ers didn't keep them on the sidelines where they couldn't do damage. They allowed them back onto the field. And my dad kept telling me, that defense, you keep talking about that defense. That defense is supposed to be this good. How come they gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter? How come they gave up a 10-point lead with less than 10 minutes to go in the game? I said, first of all, the Chiefs shouldn't have had the ball 3 times with 9 minutes left. They shouldn't have gotten it 3 more times in the game. All right? That shouldn't have happened. If the 49ers had done it the right way, the Chiefs don't even see it 3 more times. 4 more times. They ultimately took a knee to end the game. They had the ball 4 times in the last 9 minutes of the game. Should have never happened. But Kyle Shanahan, I thought, made gaffe after gaffe in this game, and that's my guy. But I thought he played not to lose instead of playing to win, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's get to the Chiefs first. I want to get to some of your comments in this game, and I see you guys are lighting up the comment section, so I definitely want to get to that and your comments here in a second. But let's get to the Chiefs. What you saw today, and I honestly thought that Patrick Mahomes did not deserve the MVP. I thought they gave it to him because that's what you do when you really don't have a standout performer. You give it to the quarterback. That's the default. No one's going to question if you just give it to the quarterback. I thought you could have given it to 2 other guys, and I thought that it was justifiable to give it to Tyreek Hill. The only reason you don't give it to him is because he didn't score a touchdown. I felt like he was the most consistent Chiefs player the entire game on the offensive side of the football. Damian Williams went over 100 yards rushing, had 2 touchdowns in this game, one on the ground, one through the air. I thought he was another viable candidate, and honestly speaking, if you weren't going to give it to Tyreek Hill, I thought the next guy in line should have been Damian Williams. I thought Mahomes was third on the list of guys that should have been the MVP in this game. He was not good for the first 3.5 quarters, but he was resilient. I love what he showed in terms of mental toughness, poise, and moxie in this game because he was not good. He was not the Patrick Mahomes that was the MVP of the league last year. He was not the Patrick Mahomes that ran through the AFC teams in the postseason like a hot knife through butter. He did not look like that guy. Give credit to the 49ers defense. They rattled his cage. They got to him. They hit him. They harassed him. He was not comfortable. He was not allowed to do the things that he had been accustomed to doing. He was errant on his throws. They were low. Guys had to go to the ground and make catches. Guys had to wait on the football. There was a Samuel Watkins wide open in zone coverage, and he's got to wait on the football. Somehow it got to him, and he was able to make the catch before getting hit. Tyreek Hill on that big 40-yard 3rd and 15 completion. That ball's in the air like it's a punt forever. All right, that ball took an eternity to come down. Luckily, it got to its destination, and he was able to make the catch. Mahomes was not sharp. The play that Kyle Shanahan challenged, that's a ball that if he hits Tyreek Hill in his face where he can catch it and then turn, he's got one defender to make miss, and I got my money on Tyreek Hill to make that guy miss, outrun the rest of the field and get to the end zone. And so I felt like Mahomes just wasn't his sharpest in this game. And he threw 2 interceptions. The first interception to Fred Warner, I don't know what the hell he was looking at. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I think Aikman did a great job of illustrating that there was a hole where he should have been throwing the football back towards the inside, allow Tyreek Hill to come back down the stem of that route to come to the football, and maybe you get a completion there. But he just threw it right to Fred Warner. The second interception behind Tyreek Hill on a 3rd down and 6. That would have been a first down and a potential setup for them to get into the end zone. Instead, you take a scoring opportunity off the board, and it's an interception on a poorly thrown football. I thought Mahomes was skittish at best through the first 51 minutes of this game. But then something happened, something clicked, and they got into a rhythm. And you know what? I want to pull out my my keys to the game because I talked about some things on the podcast that I thought each team needed to do, and I'll run through those very quickly, and we will move on. But from a defensive standpoint, though, when we'll come back to Mahomes and what he was able to do on the final stretch of the game, on the defensive side of the football for the Chiefs, I thought that they did a great job of initially setting the tone, not allowing the 49ers to have great success on the ground with their traditional run game. I thought that they did have some big hits, a lot of them, though, coming via a guy that I talked about in my keys to the game is the guy, if I'm the Chiefs, I would have been keying in on in Deebo Samuel. And he was having some big plays on the ground. But outside of him, I thought early in the game, and when I say early, I'm talking first quarter, midway through the second, I thought as they got into the second quarter, into the third quarter, I thought Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert started to have some really good hits on the ground. And for whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan went away from the run game. We'll talk about that when we get to the 49ers. But I thought that this defense of the Chiefs, and I talked about Chris Jones being an X factor, and he was the best player on the football field defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs in this football game. I'm proud to say that 2 ex-Redskins in Bashaud Breeland, Chris Jones with the assist on that play, getting to Jimmy Garoppolo, flustering him, and then Mike Pennell getting the hit that ultimately sent the ball fluttering into the air, into the hands of Bashaud Breeland, that set up a Chiefs field goal. And then Chris Jones with a couple of big knockdowns in the fourth quarter. He was huge in this football game. I think he had 3 total deflections in this game. 2 big ones. One where he got a piece of the football, but it slowed it down and allowed one of the Chief defenders to be able to knock it away. But nonetheless, Chris Jones was impactful in this football game, and I felt like he was a guy that the 49ers needed to key in on. And I thought that the Chiefs, all in all, outside of 1 or 2 plays that they'd like to have back, I thought they did a really good job defensively in this football game. Say what you want about them um, allowing the 49ers to amass yardage, but they never really broke. They didn't allow them to make the big plays. There were 2 touchdown drives, 2 field goal drives. It's amazing. The first 6 possessions of the game, the 49ers only punted, first 7 possessions. They didn't punt to their 7th possession of the game. All right, so the Chiefs defensively weren't great, but they didn't, and this is the difference between, and I said this before, last year's Chiefs defense and this year's Chiefs defense. Last year's Chiefs defense, it would have been 28-10, not 20-10. This game would have been somewhat out of reach. But because this defense this year is able to keep the game within striking distance, I thought they gave the Chiefs a chance in this game. They weren't great, and there were opportunities for the 49ers that they didn't take advantage of, but credit the Chiefs. On third down, Steve Spagnuolo, he sent the dogs. He wasn't sitting on his hands. He wasn't waiting for someone to make a play. He forced the issue. 5-man pressures, 6-man pressures. He came after Garoppolo, made Garoppolo uncomfortable, got to Jimmy Garoppolo, and forced some errant throws on third down, which got them off the field. And Kendall Fuller with the exclamation point, with the interception to put the game on ice, essentially, 2 ex-Redskins getting it done, getting them a chip, getting an interception in the biggest game that they've ever played in their lives. I'm happy for both of those guys as the Chiefs get it done 31-20. 49ers. My goodness. Man, where do I begin? I thought Jimmy Garoppolo actually didn't play bad in this game. And my dad is not a Jimmy Garoppolo fan, and I was defending Jimmy the entire game. And I thought Jimmy actually played solidly. There were some opportunities that Jimmy missed out on. A third down where George Kittle is wide open and he decides to check it down. And they ultimately had to settle for a field goal. A little disappointing there. And I frankly, I didn't think they got it to Kittle nearly enough in this game. And we'll talk about that when I get to the keys to the game. But I didn't think they got it to him enough. I didn't think they got it to E-Man San enough. But more importantly, I didn't think they ran the football enough in the second half. I thought they ran it almost too much in the first half. And then in the second half, I thought they ran it too little. So you got to find that happy medium and that balance. And I thought Kyle Shanahan was just a little out of whack in this football game. How about the decision with the game tied at 10? Your defense gets a stop, and you're going to get the football back. If you got 3 timeouts, you call one of them on the defensive side of the football. You're going to get this football back with 1 minute and 40 seconds left and 2 timeouts to go get you a field goal, possibly a touchdown before the half. How about Kyle Shanahan deciding to sit on his 3 timeouts, allow the Chiefs to burn off 40 on the punt. They get it back with 59. They run a draw. They allow another 30 to burn off. Then they run another play. The Chiefs then call timeout thinking, well, hell, they don't want the football. We'll try to get something. And then they get the arrow route to the running back over the middle of the field. He breaks a big one. And now all of a sudden they want to try to go down the field. And Jimmy Garoppolo hits George Kittle on a beautifully thrown corner route that I thought it was a bogus call on the OPI there. I didn't like the call. I didn't think there was enough there. Yeah, there was hands on the defender, but was there? And yeah, technically there was an extension, but there wasn't a push. There wasn't a thrust. He literally had his hand on the defender. But look, when you extend like that, they're going to call it 9 times out of 10. I didn't like the call, but I understood the call. But they didn't deserve points in that situation. And under no circumstances can you allow the clock to be mangled the way the 49ers did at the end of the first half. At that point, I looked at Kyle in his face and I said, oh, okay, you cool with trying not to lose. You don't want to win. You just don't want to lose. Okay, that's fine. You're going to lose this game then. You don't want to win. You just don't want to lose. We're going to lose. That's how this works. The Chiefs are too damn explosive and dynamic for you to think you're going to win this game 23-20. You needed to score, okay, more. And for you to go into halftime thinking that it was okay to have 10 points, it's okay to be sitting on 2 timeouts, it's okay for you to go to a halftime break, letting essentially 1 minute and 30 seconds burn off the clock frivolously. You thought that was okay? You deserve to lose the football game. But then you come out in the second half, you move it down the field, you get a field goal, you take a 13-10 lead, your defense comes out, makes a great play, gets the interception, you take that, you turn it into another touchdown, and all of a sudden you're up 20-10, and you've got firm control of this game. Your defense then goes out, gets you another stop. And I'm thinking to myself with the interception. Now, at that moment, I said to myself, and then this is when me and my dad kept saying this is a big third down. The Chiefs needed to get that football in the scoring range, and they did. It was a crucial third down with about, I think it was like 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and I looked over at my dad and I said, this is a crucial third down. 49ers got all the momentum. They've scored 10 unanswered, and if they don't get this first down, they being the Chiefs, and the 49ers get the football back right now, and this was the first set of downs, I said, this could get ugly. I mean, they got the momentum right now, and the Chiefs defense is reeling, and the Chiefs offense did something that the 49ers offense couldn't do in the second half. They sustained offense. They kept the football. They got first downs. They moved it in the scoring range, and then Mahomes had the bad pass on third down to Tyreek Hill behind him, and it caroms off his arm into Tavarius Moore's hands, and it's an interception. And at that moment, I'm thinking, all right, you got a great opportunity right here, up 20-10, to absolutely destroy this clock. Go eat up 7 minutes of this clock. Have them not see the football again until the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, because after that interception, I think the 49ers ran 2 plays, and then it was the fourth quarter. And if not, they might have given it back to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs ran a couple of plays, and then it was the fourth quarter. Either way, it was 20-10, and they were in firm control. And I think Aikman said it best on the telecast. He said, so the next, this is after the Chiefs cut it to 20-17. The 49ers got it. They give it to Raheem Mostert. He gets 5 on first down. And I thought Aikman summed it up best. He said, they did this the last possession. Let's see if they do it again. They got 5 on first down, and then they elected to throw it twice and had to punt. Let's see if they stick with the run. They've got a chance to really control the ball, control the clock, and really put the Chiefs in a tough situation. The Chiefs haven't really stopped the run in the second half. These are all great and valid points. They haven't stopped the run. Raheem Mostert, 12 carries, 58 yards. Folks, I can do math. That's over 4 a pop, okay? The 49ers were running the football. Tevin Coleman, they were running the football successfully. Deebo Samuel, you look at the 49ers rushing average in this game. They were running the football with great success. And for some reason, 20-17, 20-10, first and 10, 5-yard run, you throw it on second down. And in this particular situation, 20-17, you get 5 on first down, and then you try to throw it on second down. And then Jones gets his hands up. Chris Jones deflects the football. Now it's 3rd and 5. And then they send a 6-man pressure, and the middle linebacker comes scot-free up the A-gap, hits Jimmy Garoppolo as he's throwing it, ball sails. You got to punt now. That defense that just gave up a 3rd and 15 to Tyreek Hill, they're gassed. They are absolutely gassed. You cannot send them back out there. They're not ready, and they sent them back out there, and the Chiefs moved right down the field. Big completion to Samuel Watkins on a beautifully thrown football by Patrick Mahomes, and just like that, they're back in the red zone, and they get into the end zone on the pass to Damian Williams, and I mean, just like that, you went from up 10 to down 4. Now there's 2 minutes and 32 seconds left. And I'm saying, all right, Jimmy G, what you got? And this is what I thought the game would come down to. I said, Jimmy G is going to have a chance to win. If you listen to my podcast, I said Jimmy G is going to have a chance to win the game on the final possession, and he's just not going to be able to do it. And he had to throw. All right, E-Man Sand streaking down the field on a skinny post. And for some reason, nothing cheap, nothing deep. I don't know what the hell West is doing on that outside corner there, but he's got no responsibility. He should be deeper than the deepest. There's no way you can let that man behind you, but he did. And now you've got Fulton, your rookie, in trail position, nowhere close, and West trailing, and he's not close enough to make a play on the ball. And Jimmy Garoppolo overshoots E-Man Sand by 2 yards, and that was the one. That was the opportunity. That was the play he missed. And you knew after that miss, they were in trouble. And it pretty much was all she wrote. He gets sacked on 4th down. Had time on that play too. It's not like it was an immediate pressure, and he had time. Got to get rid of the football in that situation. Find a way to make something happen, and he didn't. And 2 plays later, Damian Williams is galloping down the sidelines for a touchdown. And really, he should have went down. The game would have been over, but he gets in the end zone. It's of no consequence. 49ers aren't scoring 11 points in the final minute and, 40 whatever seconds were left in the game. What may have you with 2 timeouts. They were done, and that was the final score, 31-20. I'll give you my quick keys to the game for both teams. For Kansas City, offensively, I had get Mahomes going early with quick throws and move the pocket. They did that. They moved the pocket quite often. As a matter of fact, how many read options did we see? All right, how many times did, they fake the option and pitch, or Mahomes kept it, or even Travis Kelce on a crucial 3rd down kept it himself. On a wildcat, faked the option and kept it himself. They moved the pocket consistently early in the game, but as the game wore on, the 49ers started to find Mahomes. They started to get to Mahomes and fluster him a bit, but they did move the pocket early. There were quick throws early in this game, and I thought that they did some really good things to try to get him outside of the pocket early in this football game. Make the 49ers defend vertically, not horizontally. I didn't think they took enough deep shots. I thought they were, and credit the 49ers. You could see that they were trying to keep everything in front. How many times did Tyreek Hill run an 8-yard stop and the corner was 6 yards off when he caught the football? Like, they made a concerted effort in this game to not give anything up cheap or deep. And that was one of my keys to the game. We'll get to that when we get to the 49ers. But I thought that, Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 15, they chuck it up to him 40. I thought there were more opportunities like that to be had in this game, and they just simply didn't take them. But nonetheless, that was one of the things I thought they needed to do, and I didn't think they did it until late in the game. You got the Samuel Watkins play up the sidelines. I thought they needed to challenge them vertically a little bit more in this game, and it kind of took them a while, but they ultimately got to that later in the game. Change tempos was another key to the game. They didn't change tempos until they were down 10 in the 4th quarter. I thought they should have done that earlier. Remember, I said this 49ers defense, they want to be interchangeable. They want to get guys on the field. They want to keep fresh bodies out there. Don't allow them to do that. Change tempos. Go hurry up. You get a good chunk play. Go hurry up. Then go back to the huddle. Like, change tempos. They didn't do it. And you saw when they changed tempos in the 4th quarter, what happened? 2 touchdowns. Just like that, they take the lead. I thought they needed to change tempos throughout the course of the game. They didn't do that. But they did late in the game, and look how it worked for them. Don't be afraid to run the ball. I said that they needed to run the football. They ran it quite effectively, whether it be read option, whether it be speed options to the outside. We saw a few of those in this game. Or it be Damian Williams. And I thought they weren't afraid to run it in this game. Williams with 17 attempts, over 100 yards. Obviously, the big one, late over 55 yards or whatever that last one was for the touchdown, put him over 100. But I thought they ran it effectively throughout the course of this game before that big run. And they weren't afraid to run the football. And they had some cute plays. The Remember the Titans spin where everybody shifts over one gap and Mahomes goes from under center to into that A gap off to the side of it. And Kelce ends up taking the direct snap and gets the first down. Like they had some cute plays, man. They did some nice things. Or was that Damian Williams that ended up taking that direct snap? Either way, it was cute on a third. That was a 4th down, as a matter of fact. They did some really creative things. They weren't afraid to run the football in this game. For the 49ers, my offensive keys to the game was keep the Chiefs D off balance or guessing. Everyone expects to run, so throw it. Don't be afraid to throw the football. I thought they didn't do a good enough job of that in the second half. I thought they kept them off balance in the first half. There were some early first down throws off of play action fake. The first play of the game, as a matter of fact, or second play of the game, was a play action throw over the middle of the football field for a nice chunk, where I said that's going to be there for you throughout the course of the game because they're looking to stop the run. And I think they took that one a little bit to heart in the second half, ran with it, and they got away from who they were. And I think I said on the podcast, don't get away from your identity and who you are, but, keep them guessing. And I thought that pass right before the half to George Kittle kind of kept the Chiefs on their toes. And I thought it was going to open up some running lanes, and it did. And I just didn't think they took advantage of it in the second half of the game. Another key to the game for the 49ers, get your playmakers involved early and often. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, E-Man Sand. With Deebo Samuel, I thought they did that. Got him the football early on some, reverses and some tosses and a number of different ways that they just got him the football, which is what they do. And George Kittle, I didn't think that he touched it enough. Didn't think George Kittle touched it nearly enough in this game. He was not the factor that he should have been in this game. They had mismatches with him out there. And I know they had Tyrann Mathieu shadowing him. I don't give a shit. Get the football to George Kittle. I don't think they got it to him nearly enough in this game. And Eman Sand didn't get enough targets either. He didn't touch it enough. What did he have? I think he only had 1 or 2 catches. I remember 1 catch in the first quarter. I don't remember him having another catch. He may have had 1 more or 2, but he didn't touch it enough. I didn't think they got it to their playmakers enough in this football game. But get Kyle Juszczyk up the field vertically. Remember I talked about him being an X factor on the pod, and he almost had 2 touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown, the first touchdown of the game for the 49ers, almost had a second touchdown. I thought they could have done some more things with him, but I thought they got the football to Kyle Juszczyk, so I was happy to see that. And don't be afraid to unleash Jimmy. And also, in parentheses, I put also neutralize Chris Jones. I didn't think they did a good enough job of not allowing Chris Jones to impact the game. Again, his pressure was a huge part of the interception thrown to Bashaud Breeland. And then Jones also being able to knock down 2 passes and get his pinky on another. So I thought Chris Jones was a problem in this football game. But I said, don't be afraid to unleash Jimmy. Unfortunately, he took that to heart in the second half. When you needed to unleash Jimmy in the first half, you didn't. When you needed to scale back from Jimmy, you tried to unleash him in the second. And so Kyle Shanahan was a little confused as to when he was supposed to do certain things in this football game. As you get to the defensive keys to the game for the Chiefs, stop the run, make Jimmy G beat you, get the Niners in 3rd and long. I thought they did that, especially in the second half of this game. Not necessarily 3rd and long, 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 5s, but it doesn't matter. 3rd and 9 at the end of the game, 4th and 9 at the end of the game. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, get Jimmy G into 3rd downs where he has to throw the football. And really, you got to credit the San Francisco 49ers for doing that themselves. They put themselves in those positions, not necessarily the Chiefs defense doing that. But, hey, look, if they're going to put you in a position to get off the field on 3rd down, you gladly take that. And so give the Chiefs defense credit. They got the job done. I put key in on Deebo Samuel as priority number 2. To me, priority number 1 was stop the run. I don't think they did a great job of that. I think the 49ers deserve a lot of the credit for themselves stopping the football from being run down the Chiefs' throat in this game. But to me, Deebo Samuel needed to be priority number 2 after stopping the run. And really, he had a big game on the ground, not necessarily as a receiver. I thought that they could have gotten him the football more in this game, but he was an impactful player in this game, was Deebo Samuel. Get Chris Jones one-on-one opportunities and free runs to bother Garoppolo. They did that, and he was able to do his job in this football game. And communication is the key. Nothing cheap, nothing deep, essentially. You don't want to have any defensive breakdowns. I brought to the forefront the Kenny Stills touchdown versus Houston on the first possession of the game versus the Texans, where he had an easy walk-in, 55-yard touchdown, whatever it was. Then you had Anthony Ferkser down the sidelines, wide open versus the Titans a couple of weeks ago on a misdirection play up the sideline. Can't have those things happen. And for the most part, outside of the Eman Sand play late that could have been ultra costly with an accurate ball by Garoppolo, I thought the defense was pretty good in terms of communication and not allowing any big plays. For the 49ers, defensively, keep Mahomes in the pocket at all costs. They weren't able to do that in this game at all times. And Mahomes, he hurt him with his legs a couple of times in some key spots. So they weren't able to keep him from getting outside of them in this game. Nothing cheap, nothing deep. For the most part, you saw that was the game plan. Like, we're not going to let Tyreek Hill, get behind us. We're not going to let Mecole Hardman get behind us. If you want to catch the 8-yard stop right in front of us, knock yourself out. You'll have a steady diet of those. But what you won't get is the 66-yard quick strike. That's not happening tonight. So I'll give them credit for that. Pick your poison. Chiefs got so many weapons. I said anybody but Tyreek Hill has to beat you in this game, and Tyreek Hill got him in this game. 5 catches, over a buck and some change. They didn't let him get into the end zone, but that 3rd and 15, I keep harping on that because that was a back-breaking play. You're up 20-10. You got the momentum. You get the stop there, you're probably going to win this football game. Instead, you give up a 44-yard completion to Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 15. I mean, that is just mind-boggling how you give that one up. But anybody but Tyreek Hill, and you allowed it to be Tyreek Hill. Play fast and physical through the whistle. Second reaction plays and Mahomes scrambles. You needed to get to him. I thought you hit Mahomes a couple of times on some of those scrambles. Jimmy Ward on the first one where he knocks the ball loose and forces that first fourth down of the game. Also, Jaquaski Tart with a nice little shot on Mahomes where he's able to bounce off of it and spin, but that was still a nice wicked shot on Mahomes. I thought you made him pay for the times that he decided to scramble, but some of those second reaction plays and some of the times where you allowed him to escape the pocket and get yards, I didn't think you were as aware of Mahomes and his ability to get out of the pocket as you should have been in this football game. But that being said, got to give the Chiefs credit for what they were able to do. I'm going to get to your comments. I feel like I've talked too much. Got a super chat first. DMV fan 123, thank you for the super chat. He says Nick Bosa gonna cry in the car. I thought I saw him hunched over on the sidelines, crying, and I think my girl and my sisters both brought that to my attention. And I'm like, I don't know if he's crying or not. He may have been crying. Look, this is the thing, and you know, one of my sisters said, "Oh, don't cry." You know how females are. "Oh, don't cry. You're a rookie. You'll be." And I quickly looked over at her. And I said, "Wait, this isn't the NBA. He's not guaranteed to be back here. You know, this isn't the NBA where if you're good and you got a nucleus, you'll be back. If you're a dominant basketball team, you'll be back. All right. In the NFL, there's no guarantees that you're gonna get back. You know." I keep harping on this, but Dan Marino got to the Super Bowl in his second year of his career, and he looked like he was going to be back another 3 or 4 times, and he never made it back. And so you don't know when these opportunities are going to come. I thought Nick Bosa was dominant tonight. He was the one guy defensively for the 49ers that brought it, that gave them a chance. He forced a fumble. He got to Mahomes on several different occasions. He flushed him. There was one play where Mahomes gets the first down on third down, but Bosa is trying frantically to get him from the backside. He dives and tries to clip his ankle, but he only gets a piece of his calf muscle, and he needed to get his ankle instead, and he's able to stay on his feet and get the first down. Bosa left it all out on the field, and to me, they didn't have any answers for him, but unfortunately, he didn't have any help. You know, you did have Defoe with a sack. Eric Armstead, he flashed a couple of times, but D Ford was pretty much non-existent in this football game, and they didn't generate enough pressure to me on Mahomes in the latter stages of the game. I thought there needed to be a play that was made to force the issue, and I thought they did, like I said, they did a great job for 51 minutes, and then the offense needed to step in. The defense needed a break. They needed a breather, and I didn't think the offense gave them that breather that they needed. All right, let's get to the comment section. Skull Candy TV says, "What a great game. I'm so happy as a Dolphins fan for the Chiefs to win a Super Bowl and win it early. No matter what, nothing can take this win away." Absolutely. And I'm happy for Andy Reid as well. Let's see. DeMarco Williams says, "Man, when I was watching the game with my family, they all thought it was over when the 49ers had the lead. But I told them, don't give up. There was still time on the clock, and I knew KC was coming." It was crazy because I started to ponder if the Chiefs had enough down 20-10 as we got towards that middle stage of the fourth quarter. And it was funny. Joe Buck said on the telecast, the Chiefs have them right where they want them. And my dad said, "They ain't got them no damn right where they want them." And you know, Aikman then echoed that and said, "I don't know about having them right where they want them," but you know, this was not uncharted territory for the Chiefs. They had been here before. And you know, the crazy part is being down 24-0 to the Texans, being down 17-7 to the Titans, prepared them for 20-10 in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. They were unfazed by that moment because they had been there before. They knew what it was like to be down, and so they didn't panic. And there's nothing like on-the-job training and experience to help you through some of these situations. And it really, I thought, gave them an advantage that they had been in those situations before, and they didn't panic. Niners fan says, "Damn, Lou, I'm devastated. I'm devastated for you because at 20-10, 3rd and 15, I could smell it. I could smell it. I could taste it for you. and it just slipped through your fingers. He says, to get to this point and lose is heartbreaking. We were up 20-10 with the ball in the fourth and choked. This is a really tough pill to swallow. Yeah, it's a tough one when you've been to this point, this close. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it, and then it's snatched from you the way that it was tonight. I'm glad you're here, because I know guys that wouldn't have been able to come on and talk about it after a tough loss like this. Niners fan says, do you think we will fall victim to the Super Bowl hangover? It's hard to say. Not everyone succumbs to that. You know, the Eagles didn't last year. They won the Super Bowl. The Rams, you saw what happened to them this past year. The Patriots, when they would lose the Super Bowl, they would bounce right back the next year. So I don't subscribe to that. But this is the thing. You're going to have a target on your back. Everyone is going to be expecting you to be good. Last year, no one was expecting you to be good coming into the season. This year, everyone's going to look at you as a mark. And you're going to have to bring it every single week. And it's going to be a lot tougher than it was this year. I can assure you of that, for sure. Niners fan says, Jimmy made some questionable throws today and missed some open receivers. He also missed the big one to Sanders. But we can chill with the hate. It's his first playoff run and first Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm not going to allow people. My dad was giving out Jimmy hate all night. I wouldn't stand for it. He missed some things. There are some opportunities that I thought he would like to have back. But all in all, I would put it on the play calling before I put it on Jimmy, to be honest with you. I put this one in the lap of Kyle Shanahan before I put it on Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought they needed to run. And the Chiefs, they didn't show that they could stop the run in the second half. They didn't. And until they stopped it, I would have pounded it down their throat. And we know Kyle is fully capable of running the football because he had done it the previous two games leading up to the Super Bowl. So why he didn't trust the run game when it had gotten him to the point where they were is beyond me. Niners fan says, I thought our defense was solid for the most part today. They gave up a ton of yards but made some really big plays. It's tough to contain Mahomes for 4 full quarters. Absolutely. As I told my dad, 51 minutes. They played their asses off, and I thought it was the offense's time to give them a break. Because remember, 13 points by this 49ers offense, 7 of which are of the 20 points, 7 of which is why I say 13, 7 was set up by the defense. That Fred Warner interception put them in great field position. They turned that into 7 points. They needed to help this defense out because they had done what they needed to do, but they were exhausted. And they didn't give them the relief that they needed. Ron Cole III says, Chiefs are the comeback kids. 3 games in a row, down 10 plus. They win all 3. And that's a mark of a team with resiliency and with a quarterback that right now is just insane. Niners fan says, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Chiefs. They deserve this one. But when you're up 20-10 on third down, the Chiefs clearly jumped. The referees missed it. They did. They missed it. And then they also missed one on the 49ers when their guard jumped. And it was delayed game. And that was a third down as well. But it didn't matter. The 49ers didn't convert there. But they missed some calls in this game. I thought the officials, though, for the most part, let the two teams play. They let them play in this game. I didn't have a problem with the way the game was officiated. Although I did not like the PI call on Kittle before the half still. Niners fan says, Lou, if we keep this core intact, what's the chances we're right back here next year? It's tough in this league, but this core was dominant this season. It was. But you got to think the Rams are going to I think the Rams are going to make a resurgence. The Seahawks are right there. They're hungry. I don't think they're going away. And I think you look around the rest of the NFL, and I think other teams are going to be better as well. I don't discount this 49ers team being able to get back, but a lot of things have to go right. Defense got to stay healthy. The run game needs to be done. I don't doubt the run game. With Kyle Shanahan, I don't doubt the run game whatsoever. Jimmy's got to play well. He's got to stay healthy. A lot of things got to fall into place, but I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Black Owl B says, almost had the score close to correct when it was 24-20. That Williams run happened. He said, and then that Williams run happened. Gregory Lightbody says, Boza showed up tonight. Wish Chase Young did that against Clemson. A little shot there, a little shade. Again, I don't think you were watching the game, but okay. 20th Mike says, dang, football over. But you watching the XFL next week? Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a run for sure. I'm going to talk about that on the podcast this upcoming week. Black Al B says, best commercial was the Rick and Morty Pringles joint. Unless you watched the show, it went over your head. I don't watch the show. I've got, the little ones telling me that it was a great commercial. I've got my list of commercials. I'm going to do a separate video for that. But that did not make my list. I'm just going to tell you. It was a good commercial, though. I actually enjoyed it, but it was not one of my favorite commercials. Mr. or MRB says, dude, that was a friggin' barn burner. It was a good game. Great game, great commercials, great halftime show. Can't ask for anything else from the Super Bowl. I actually thought the commercials were really good this year. I thought they were much better than last year. Last year, I thought it was a dud. I thought the commercials were actually pretty good this year. JP says, congrats to Kansas City and their fans. Really happy for my favorite quarterback in football, one of my favorite coaches for winning it all. Redskins are up next. I wouldn't go that far, but Mahomes is playing like the best in the business right now. And Andy Reid, a long time coming. I'm happy to see him get a chip as well. HTTR for life says, went to a party. My friend lost $1,250 because the Chiefs scored that last touchdown. Great game, though. Yikes. Ouch. Yikes. Yeah, that's rough. Because all he had to do was go down right there. But the over-under for the game, if I'm not mistaken, was 54. So it ended up, unless he bet the... it doesn't matter because if he bet the over, that total didn't go over. And if he bet the under, it was still under. So I don't know how he lost $1,250, but yikes. Oh, I know how he lost the point spread. But the point spread last time I checked was like 1.5, something like that. I don't know. It may have changed, but that's a lot of money though. Yikes. Anyway, Reese says, did Pat Mahomes really deserve MVP? I thought Sammy Watkins did. He made big plays in big moments. Like I said, I thought Mahomes was third in the MVP for me. I would have given it to Tyreek Hill first. I would have given it. And if you said, well, Hill didn't have a touchdown, fine. Even though he had 5 catches over a buck and some change, fine. If you want to go no touchdown route, how about Damian Williams with a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown and over 100 yards rushing in this game? How about he get the MVP? I just thought there were other guys that deserved it a little bit more than Mahomes, but Mahomes made plays down the stretch. So, it is what it is. Let's see. The Cubone says, I got to say, this Super Bowl was entertaining. KC coming from behind once again. Way to go, Andy. Reese says, Kyle Shanahan choked like Eminem in 8 Mile again. Yes, he did. I just don't know what it is about Kyle Shanahan and the Super Bowl and big leads and refusing to run the football. I just don't know why. And I thought, to me, I said that experience is going to scar him, and he'll err on the side of caution the next time around. So we may be screaming at him, dude, you got to throw it. And he may just decide to run it because he'll be at the opposite end of the spectrum this time. Nope, he didn't learn at all. He did the same shit over again as if he never went through the 28-3 debacle. He threw it on second down. He threw it on third down, 2 consecutive possessions, and really put his defense out to dry. And that's pretty disappointing from Kyle Shanahan. That and the ending to the first half, I thought Kyle was pretty bad in this game. He coached this game in the first half not to lose. And then in the second half, it's almost like he tried to overcompensate, and he was trying to put his foot on the throat of the Chiefs instead of saying, you know what? We can run the football on these dudes. It may not be pretty, and this thing may end up 20-10, but let's do it. Let's ground and pound these boys. And he refused to do it. The Niners fan says, I can't lie, Lou. I was disappointed in Kyle today. He simply didn't call a good second half. I couldn't agree with you more. I thought it started at the end of the first half with that whole debacle with the 3 timeouts and just pretty much being okay and comfortable with the 10-10 tie at halftime. I thought early on in the second half, he did some really good things. They took the 20-10 lead, but after that, I thought he got in his head a little bit. I thought he got in his head and got away from what made the 49ers the team that was so feared in the NFC this season. Cody _ says, what a game, bro. What a game indeed. Reese says, if I'm Andy Reid, I retire. This is the perfect ending to a career. He has nothing left to prove. What if he just doesn't want to, though? What if he loves football and wants to keep going, which is going to be the case? Like, these guys are football lifers. Like, he doesn't have anything else to do. He's not going to go home and just watch football on Sundays. That's not what his life has been. He wants to win another one. He wants to come back and win it again next year. Niners fan says, our D was good today, Lou. I can't fault them. I told my dad the same thing, Niners fan. Told my dad didn't want to hear it. I told him, I said, they didn't lose them this game. I understand 21 points in the final 9 minutes of the game. They didn't lose them this game. I put it on the offense. He says, they were on the field way too much late. We didn't play well enough on offense, plain and simple. I couldn't agree with you more. Captain Spartan 04 says, Troy pissed me off every time he mentioned Richard Sherman was one-on-one. You're not going to test Richard Sherman. It's like saying throw to Dion because he's in one-on-one coverage. He's one-on-one, but it's still cover 3. He's not going to give up anything deep. He did get beat that one time by Samuel Watkins, but not often is he in pure man-to-man. It's generally, and I mean, even cover 3 really turns to man-to-man essentially if the safety over the middle of the field has a responsibility. It essentially turns to man-to-man. So it is, in essence, one-on-one. But for whatever reason, as I mentioned, I didn't feel like the Chiefs took enough shots vertically. I thought they needed to stretch the football field vertically and not be so horizontal. But again, credit the 49ers. They weren't giving it up deep. They made a conscious and concerted effort to keep everything in front of them. And for the most part, they did that outside of the 3rd and 15 to Tyreek Hill and the big one to Samuel Watkins down the sidelines. For the most part, they kept everything in front of them in this football game. Reby says, what up, Lou? Slept through the entire Super Bowl. No, you didn't, Reby. How could you? I know you worked some funky hours, so I'm going to cut you some slack. She says, now I have to watch highlights. Thank God for you. I know you are going to give me the breakdown like no other. I hope I've done you some justice. And I hope I have given you a clear picture of how this game went. Junior 13 says, I was thinking more of Damian Williams as MVP. Glad the Niners didn't win. I live in Cali, so I seen old-ass Gore, Willis, and Davis and Kaepernick jerseys. LOL. I thought Damian Williams, and like I said, that was my, if you wanted to go, Tyreek Hill didn't have any touchdowns, so the impact wasn't as great. Okay, that's fine. I told you my next guy in line is Damian Williams. 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 in the air, over 100 yards rushing, had at least 3 or 4 other catches in this game. To me, it shouldn't have been Patrick Mahomes. I just don't agree with him getting the MVP. Thought that was a cop-out. Like, no one will question us. No, I'm questioning you. Mahomes was not the MVP of this game. Niners fan says, what's our biggest need this offseason? Honestly speaking, I look at your receiving core and I'm not overly impressed. I'm not overwhelmed, which is why you made the trade for Emmanuel Sanders. Feel like you still need a true number 1. I love Deebo Samuel. I think he is a really great complement to a number 1, but I think he's a 2 in this league. And he's a playmaker. Just got to get it in his hands. But I think you need that number 1 wide receiver, if you ask me. Or as Kyle Shanahan likes to say, you need a baller. I don't think you have that guy on the roster right now at the receiver position. So for me, I would look there first. I think also I would be in the market for a corner if I'm the San Francisco 49ers. I look at Dick Sherman. He's getting up there in age. Ahkello Witherspoon got benched, and maybe he'll come back, play better next year. But, they told you what they think. Emmanuel Mosley took over pretty much from the first possession of the Vikings game. Remember, Ahkello Witherspoon got benched at the end of the Seahawks game. Then they gave him a chance to earn back the starting job at the beginning of the Vikings game. He gives up the touchdown to to Stephon Diggs the very first possession in that game. They bench him, and that was it for him. And Emmanuel Mosley is a free agent. I don't see him going anywhere. But if I'm the 49ers, that's another position I look at as corner. But receiver is one that I'm definitely taking a hard, long look at. And I think those are the two that stand out to me right now more than any other. Staley's getting up there in age, but I don't think that's your biggest need. I think corner and receiver come before those two for me. Reby says, I'm so happy for Andy Reid on the real. Now he can retire happy when he does. I couldn't agree more. And this too, he's now solidified his place in Canton. I thought there would be some dummies out there that would try to debate whether Andy Reid deserved to get in because he didn't have a chip. Andy Reid's been one of the most consistent and dominant coaches in football. Andy Reid has, I think, double-digit seasons of double-digit wins. Like, there aren't many other coaches in the league outside of Bill Belichick that can lay claim to that. I don't know where Tomlin is in terms of double-digit win seasons. He's got to be close. But for what he's done throughout his career, all the guy does is win. All he does is win, 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 no matter what. And the only thing that he was missing was that hardware, that Super Bowl chip to validate what he has done as a coach, and now he's got that. And so now I think he has pretty much etched his place in Canton in stone, and I'm happy for him. Gregory Lightbody says, NFL football is over now. I got to watch Jamarcus Russell play. Shaking my head. Reese says, the commercials were a great improvement from last year. I agree. Thought the commercials were way better this year than last. Captain Spartan 04 says, love that Sammy Watkins stepped up when he needed to. He'll probably still get cut for cap space, but he's slowly living up to his potential. Look, the man said, if we win, I might chill. The man is thinking about sitting down, even if it's only for a year. I think Samuel Watkins is like, yo, I'm good. I got my money. I made a ton of it. I got a Super Bowl now. I may come back and play. I may not. We'll see what happens with Samuel. But he already made it abundantly clear that if they won the Super Bowl, he might sit out a year or 2 or 3. You get where I'm going with that. But yes, he did. I told people Samuel Watkins very talented. Reese says, what's your favorite commercial? I'll give that to you on my commercials video. Andrew Olivero says, do you think Mahomes should have been MVP? And I've talked about that already. No, I do not think he should have been the MVP. Niners fan says, I will forever despise Frank Clark and Tyreek Hill for their off-the-field antics and Clark's trash talk this postseason. Frank Clark's an ass, and I wanted to see him do nothing. I was upset that he got that sack late because it's going to make him feel like he had a part in this win. He didn't do shit in this game, but yet down the stretch, he was able to get to Garoppolo a couple of times, and so now he's going to feel really good. He forced that incompletion that looked like a fumble. He got the sack on the 4th down, so now he's going to feel like, oh, I'm the man. Shut up. You're a clown. Anyway, talked about that on the podcast. Junior 13 says, I thought we weren't going to hear it, but Troy Aikman's good old "that's one heck of a football player" comment was said. He says it every game he's in. I strongly dislike his commentary. I actually really like Troy Aikman. I'm a Troy Aikman fan when it comes to his commentary. I think he does a really good job. Reese says, how do you have a playmaker in Emmanuel Sanders and not use him? I thought they needed to get it to him more, and they simply didn't. Reed also says, you have to be aggressive to win in this league. Being conservative and sitting on leads gets you beat. And unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan, I don't want to say he sat on the lead. That's not the right term. I thought he was not aggressive enough at the end of the first half, and I thought he was too aggressive in the second half against a Chiefs defense that showed little to no resistance against the ground game. Why go away from it? If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. I just thought he didn't you could argue that he was too aggressive, similar to the same thing against the Patriots. He was too aggressive. He wasn't sitting on the lead. He should have sat on the lead, and he didn't. Captain Spartan 04 says, I think the 49ers are going to be mediocre next year, 9-7. Chiefs may also miss the playoffs. It'll be hard for them to become the hunted, especially with Drew Lock and the hungry Broncos. I won't go that far. You remember, they got a dude back there in Mahomes, man. Looks pretty damn badass to me. So we'll see what happens. JP says, I had Damian Williams winning Super Bowl MVP, but Mahomes showed resilience at the end. Kid had the will to win at all costs. I agree with that. But Damian Williams, Tyreek Hill, both better choices than Mahomes to me for the MVP. JP says Shanahan chokes yet again. I know somewhere Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder are sipping on a couple of Miller Lights watching Kyle Shanahan choke this Super Bowl away. Mr. Yeah D-Ho. Oh, he said it's Mr. Yeah Doe. Okay. Sorry. I wasn't smart enough to put that together. I appreciate you breaking it down for me. It's Mr. Yeah though. All right. Mr. Yeah though. LOL. He says Chiefs are cousins of the AFC. Are our cousins of the AFC. They are. A lot of ex-skins up there getting it done, man. Really happy for those guys. JP says, thoughts on the Kittle OPI should have been called. I talked about that earlier. No, I thought it was a bad call. Leo RJSP says, it's crazy how football is a game of momentum. I always talk about Uncle Mo switching sidelines, man. It's tough to get him on your side, but when you do, it's a dangerous thing. But when Uncle Mo decides to pack up his shit, get his beverage, get his bag of chips, and goes to the other sideline and gets in the recliner and puts his feet up, man, you in trouble. And you saw it happen to the 49ers in this game. Uncle Mo grabbed his beverage, grabbed his chips, and moseyed right across the field over to the Chiefs sideline. He sat down. He didn't sit back. He sat down. He looked at the 49ers like, you going to stop me from sitting back? They was like, nah, man, go ahead. You good. He said, all right, man. He sat back in his chair, put his feet up. It was game over at that point. JP says, I thought Shady McCoy should have played tonight. The guy waited so long for a ring, had to spend the game on the bench. He hasn't been active the whole postseason, so they figured it. They figured out that he wasn't a necessity for them to win. So the 20th Mike says it feels like the Niners offense stopped the gas pedal and they didn't know how to turn it back on again. What would you call that, Lou? I didn't see that. I thought that they were over aggressive. I thought that they put their foot on the gas pedal and floored it instead of just saying, you know what? The speed limit's 55. Let's do 65. They said, nah, we about to do 85. All right. And that's the shit that'll get you beat, you know? And so I don't think they took their foot off the gas. I thought they took their foot off the gas pedal versus the Packers when they were up big. I didn't think they did that in this game. Niners fan says, Sherm getting burnt by Watkins was not a good look for him, Lou. Not going to lie. Look, man. Dick Sherman is not a man-to-man guy at his ripe old age. You don't want him in man-to-man against these young boys out here on the streets that can run. And you saw him. He was running his hardest. He could not catch up. Dick Sherman never had a step to give in the first place. So, you know, you let somebody on top of you that has speed, it's going to be tough for him to overcome that. But bottom line is, he gave up one big play. That was it. On a night where there weren't many big plays to be had for either team. He gave up one big play. I'm not going to crucify him for that. It was a big play in the game, but it wasn't a touchdown. They still had a chance to stop the Chiefs from getting into the end zone, and they just failed to do so. Silver V says, I don't hear enough about my Chiefs being mentally tough. All the comeback victories ain't no fluke. By the way, Frank Clark's the type of player the Chiefs kingdom has been waiting for. Well, good. You can keep him. He's an ass. All right. But if that's the kind of guy you've been waiting for, have at it. He's all yours. I don't want any parts of him. Captain Spartan on 4 says the Chiefs really won a Super Bowl with Eric Fisher at left tackle. That just blows my mind. It helps when you got Patrick Mahomes, man. It can make up for a lot of deficiencies. Meest 703 says, what players do you expect to be cap casualties for these two Super Bowl teams? Hard for me to say right now because I don't know their situations. Let's see. Leo says, Jimmy G worth what he was paid. I think he's as average as Kirk. Worse, actually. I won't go that far. I won't allow the Jimmy G bashing to take place. This was his first full season as a starter. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. He has not had an entire season up until this year where he started from start to finish as the starting quarterback. And in his first full season, he takes his team to the Super Bowl. Was he a passenger on this journey? Sure he was. But there were times where he had to take over the wheel and he had to drive. The Arizona game on a Thursday night, the Rams game on a Saturday night. There were times where Jimmy had to take the wheel and drive this team to victories. So, yes, for much of the season, Jimmy was a passenger. But there was the Saints game. There was the Cardinals game. There was the Rams game. There were games where Jimmy stepped up and had to play big boy football, and he did. I'm not going to sit here and allow you guys to act as if Jimmy G is just along for the ride and that he doesn't add any value to this team. I just won't. I won't allow it. I won't allow it. So, got some more super chats, so I'm going to read those. All right. Super chat from HTTR for life. Thanks for the super chat, first and foremost. He says, yeah, after that last touchdown, everyone went silent. Yikes. That 1250, that hurt, boy. That hurt your pockets right there, man. I mean, damn. That shit hurts. Bad. Another super chat from HTTR for life. He had the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs winning 31-24. So close, yet so far. I had them winning 30-24. So the over-under total for the game was 54. I was going to push that, and they fell 3 points short of that. So it hit the under on that one. DMV fan 123 says, Shakira J-Lo was like Bron D. Wade. I actually did not watch the halftime. I'm not a halftime show guy. I heard it was actually a really, really quality halftime show. So, from all reports, sounds like they did a pretty bang-up job. Justin Hodge and HTTR for life and DMV123, thank you guys for the super chats. Justin Hodge says, Breland and Fuller, big pays. I think he meant big plays. But those guys stepped up, man. I'm happy to see the Redskins fans, or Redskins players, ex-Redskins players, stepping up, making some big plays. Anyway, we've hit the hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna pick out a couple more comments, though. Netzel's Toy 01 says, do you think momentum exists in sports? Yeah, I do. I really do. Marquismo, I ain't heard from you in a minute, man. Damn, good to hear from you. He says Damian Williams got to be the MVP, though. I think we talked about that already numerous times. Ace Card Break says, explain to me why the Niners were conservative before half with 3 timeouts. I talked about that already a number of times. Baffling. Again, playing not to lose gets you beat in this league. Sorry, you got to be more aggressive in that situation, in that spot. So I'm with you on that one. That can't happen. So there's that. I thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate all of the comments. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. Check out the Louis T Network podcast. I had a full breakdown of Super Bowl 54, and a lot of what I said pretty much came to fruition. And I thought it was a well-played game by both teams involved. This is a really good Chiefs football team, man. And the reason they won this game, we could talk about Mahomes, and I talked about the resiliency he showed because this was not one of his better performances. But he showed the grit, the toughness, and the mental capacity late in this game to overcome what had been a rough game for him. 2 interceptions, some bad throws, some bad misses, some atypical Patrick Mahomes play. All right, in this game, and yet game on the line, 3rd and 15, gotta have it. He delivers. 2 straight drives, he takes his team down the field with some big throws. First to Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 15, then to Samuel Watkins down the sidelines. He made big play after big play after big play to get this team in a position to win this football game and ultimately come away with the victory. But the defense, too, you got to give them credit as well. Hey, look, the 49ers helped them with their porous play calling. But they had to still get the stops on 3rd and 5, on 3rd and 9, on 4th down. They had to go out and make the plays to get the interceptions, to put themselves in a position to win this game, and they made the stops when they had to be made. When this score was 20-10, they had to make a stop on third down to get the football back. If the 49ers get a first down there, they're going to bleed 3-4 more minutes of this. They're going to win this game. Chiefs had to get the stop defensively. Last year, under Bob Sutton, they wouldn't have been able to do it. Steve Spagnuolo comes in. He's not afraid to blitz. Last year, Bob Sutton refused to blitz. 3- and 4-man rushes, consistently dropping 8 in coverage, getting their asses whooped on third down. Steve Spagnuolo turned up the heat on Jimmy G's ass, and he couldn't stand the heat in the kitchen. And they were able to get off the field and ultimately win this game. And so, big win for the Chiefs. And I'm happy for them, their fan base, and Andy Reid. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louis T. I thank you guys for joining me. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, you guys enjoy. I'll have my Super Bowl commercials video coming up short. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do another live stream with you guys. All right, separate from this one. I'm going to do it right now. All right, so I'm going to end this one. I'm going to set up shop, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk Super Bowl commercials. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to join me, and we can chop it up and talk about the Super Bowl commercials. So if you want to stick around for that, be my guest. If not, adios. Thank you for joining me. It's been a great season, guys. Looking forward to chopping it up with you in the future. And it's the NFL. It never stops. We got the NFL offseason swinging right into full bore motion, and we're going to jump right into draft season. All right, so it never stops. And so I'll see you guys. Have a good one. Take care. Kansas City Chiefs, celebrate! You are the Super Bowl champions of the National Football League, 31-20. 50 years after appearing in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs get back, and they're hoisting the Lombardi. I'll see you guys next time.
Louis T. Network.